Honourable Simon Bridges.
Mr Speaker, that speech from Jacinda Ardern was almost as angry as my little speech on John Campbell's show last week, Mr Speaker. But I'll tell you this much, at least unlike Jacinda Ardern and Simon Bridges, we didn't give a nasty little speech like Maturia Ture did in the House just not long ago. And speaking of John Campbell, Mr Speaker, Greenpeace, Gareth Hughes, Moana Maki, they've all been very excited in the last few days about oil and gas. And Mr Speaker, there is a lot to be excited about with oil and gas. We in this country have a proud history in this area. We have a great presence and present today, Mr Speaker, and we have a very strong future. Today, the average wage in oil and gas and mining, $105,000, Mr Speaker. What's not to like? Over double the New Zealand average. Actually, if you just take petroleum, it's probably more than that if you get rid of the mining side. Very high-paying jobs, highest in this country, and working in that industry are the kind of people, Mr Speaker, that the other side say they represent but don't, actually, Mr Speaker. They don't. Those workers have become onto our side of this House because they know that we're the ones delivering the future for them. I said we've got a proud history in this area, Mr Speaker. This is on our coat of arms, actually, that we've had an extractive economy for a very long time. Moturoa, 1865. Actually, as I understand it, the second oil rig in the world after one in Pennsylvania, I think it is. So we've been doing this for a very long time. Since the 60s in New Zealand, over 1,000 wells drilled safely without a major incident, 200 offshore, 8 deep offshore and over 300 metres, Mr Speaker. So we have a very proud history in this area. And today, numbers that aren't to be sniffed at by the Greens, actually, $2.5–3 billion per annum, $800 million in royalties that pay for the schools and the hospitals and the other infrastructure that actually everyone in this House agrees with. Our fourth highest commodity, crude oil. Actually, to Australia, it's our biggest import. It's literally an industry that feeds and clothes children in this country and that delivers the taxes and the royalties. And as I've said, you know, in terms of the dollars per household go back bigger than anything else. And then we talk about the future, Mr Speaker, and what a great future it is, actually. We should be excited about the biggest exploration season ever, probably on most measures, this coming season, and what that means for this country down the track in terms of jobs. Because the truth is we are underexplored. We have one basin, Taranaki, that gives us that $2.5 billion in revenue or thereabouts. One more, as I've said before in this House, Mr Speaker, would be a game changer for this country. It would mean more people employed in high-income jobs. $130,000, I think Statistics New Zealand said, 130,000 people, I should say, Māori working in Australia, thousands of them actually in mining and oil and gas. Well, let me tell you, they would like to work in this country if they had the opportunity, and that's what this government's about, real jobs for real people that the left like to talk about, but actually we're doing something about. And what a great speech that was from Amy Adams, Mr Speaker, where we heard about the environmental protections that we've put in place here, a very layered set of protections that mean up front we are preventing the kind of harms that the scaremongers and the Greens like to go on about. And, you know, it's interesting to see from the left a very schizophrenic approach to this, actually, an approach that is all over the show. Because I agree with Shane Jones. That Greenpeace report today, it was a greenwash. Actually, I think, agree with David Shearer. He seems to be moderating his position. He says, providing we have world-best standards, which we do, which we've implemented through the Crown Minerals regime this year, then that's okay. He's shaking his head, so he doesn't support it. He's gone back. So he's schizophrenic. He's gone back into the Moana Maki Marion Street camp. He doesn't know where he is. And at least with the Greens, we know their position. They are totally opposed to progress in this country. And what they don't understand is it's not a zero-sum game. It's not an either-or. Actually, we can be proud that we're 75% renewables in this country, third highest in the world and going up, not if Labour and Greens get their way, with the disincentive there will be for investment in renewables going forward. But we should be proud of a very proud history, a great presence and future for this industry.
Well said.
Dennis O'Rourke.
Mr Speaker, it won't be long before it's 3 years since the February 2011 Christchurch earthquake. And it's now over 3 years since the September 2010 Greendale Fault earthquake. Who would have thought that after that period of time there would still be people trying to settle insurance claims, let alone actually getting progress on the rebuilding of their homes?